Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
So it's Carr on third down. Down the sideline, open receiver, Shaheed! Steps out of bounds, doesn't like that, but makes the catch and a big chunk for New Orleans when they need it.
Sounded on CBS, Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed. 3rd and 6. Mike Vrabel rolled the dice. He kicked a field goal from the 11-yard line instead of trying to go for the touchdown, thinking 2-minute warning, 3 timeouts. His defense would get a stop, give the offense another chance. That play assured the offense would not get another chance, as Derek Carr, beautifully dialed up by Pete Carmichael to take that chance, and Carr hit Rashid Shaheed to ice it. Here was Derek Carr on the play that iced it for the Saints.
Me and Pete talked about it on the sideline, and I told Pete that was a play that I liked, and he trusted Sheed and I to make the play. And the offensive line gave me time to throw it, and when he's that fast, I was just trying not to throw it out of bounds, and he ran a great route, caught it, all that. It's exciting, but that goes back to Pete trusting us. He asked me, what I liked throughout the game, all that kind of stuff, and before that drive, that was something that I really liked.
It would be very easy today to look at the final score at 16-15 and bemoan how it played out. There is one undeniable truth, and I feel like every single Saints season, I have to say this so plainly and abundantly clear. You never, ever apologize for how you win in the NFL. It is so hard to win a game in the NFL. The margins are so small that you never apologize for how you get it done. Now, as I often say, sometimes winning masks deficiencies. So you win the game, you tend to brush aside or ignore the things that went wrong. We're going to talk about those, and this team has a lot that it needs to build on. But you never apologize for how you win in the NFL. Listen, I picked Tennessee to win this game because I thought they were better on the line of scrimmage. That was ultimately my reasoning. I was like, are you with Jeffrey Simmons and with that whole defensive front and as active as they are, you got Arden Key, a healthy, motivated Arden Key, incredibly. You got Harold Landry. You looked at that front, Danico Autry, and on the flip side, that offensive line and Derrick Henry against a revamped Saints defensive front, which was 24th in the NFL against the rush a year ago. Tennessee had the advantage on the line of scrimmage. And if you hadn't watched the game and looked in hindsight and said, man, Tennessee held New Orleans to 27 rushes for 69 yards. They sacked Derek Carr 4 times, had 7 TFLs, 8 quarterback hits, 4 passes defense. You're looking at that going, man. Oh, and the Saints only scored once. 1 touchdown. You're going, well, figure that probably how it went. But the fact that you won this game is a massive credit to Dennis Allen and the Saints defense. It has to be the first thing that you take. Well, listen, we're going to talk about Trevor Penning, and I know he played terribly, and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about a lot of the other stuff. How do you get Taysom Hill more involved? There's a lot of stuff to talk about, clearly. But your defense did not allow a touchdown, held Tennessee to 3 field goals in 3 red zone trips, recorded 3 interceptions. By the way, the Saints didn't get their 3rd interception last year until week 13. You limited Derrick Henry in the second half. For the game, he had only 15 rushes for 63 yards. Marshawn Lattimore locked down DeAndre Hopkins, who has brutally beaten this team in the past. 7 receptions for just 65 yards. That's 7 receptions on 13 targets. They were barely above 50% completion on his targets. And oh, by the way, how about a credit to Blake Grupe as well? Do you think the Saints are feeling good about the decision they made today? Will Lutz missed his first PAT with the Broncos and pushed a field goal wide right in a game they lost by 1 point. Meanwhile, Blake Grupe goes 3 for 3 for the New Orleans Saints with a long of 52. Welcome to the league, kid. Nails. 3 for 3 and made his PAT. Scored 10 points for you in a game that you won by 1. Yeah, I'll take it. Couple of takeaways from the game. Rashid Shaheed fumbling the opening kickoff. That sucked. I mean, I don't know that a season could possibly begin worse than it did, but sudden change. Defense goes out there and holds him to a field goal. That felt like a win in that spot. We got to talk about Derek Carr. It was his debut, and oddly, we get this deep into the segment of Derek Carr's first game in New Orleans, and it takes us till now to get to it. But I thought Derek Carr was good. He threw for 300 yards, 23 of 33 for 305. It's the most passing yards by a Saints quarterback since Drew Brees' last season in 2020. Here was Dennis Allen after the game on Derek Carr's performance in his debut with the Saints.
Yeah, look, I thought there was a lot of good things that I saw. I'm sure there's a few things that we probably need to look at and maybe get fixed. I think early on in the game, like I said, I don't know that we did as good a job as we needed to in terms of getting protection for him. And once we kind of settled that in a little bit more, I thought you saw in the second half, I thought you saw a little bit more effectiveness in the passing game. But, we felt like there might be some opportunities, down the field and the big pass play there to Rashid there at the end. Obviously, the touchdown pass, those were big plays in the game.
First play of the game was a 25-yard completion to Mike Thomas. Welcome back, Mike Thomas. That was great to see. I thought Derek Carr was fine. The interception at the end of the first half was heinous. You got to get points there. You can't turn the ball over in the red zone like he did. But the other part is he was under total duress the entire game. So the fact that Derek Carr stood in there and continued to deliver the football, despite the fact that he was sacked 4 times, hit 8 times, he was constantly under pressure. The fact that he stayed in there, stood tall, delivered the ball, and continued to move the offense was great. You just got to convert in the red zone. I mean, you moved the ball up and down the field throughout the game. 351 yards of total offense to 285 for Tennessee. You've just got to convert drives. 4 red zone attempts, 1 touchdown, and 2 field goals, and then the turnover. So would obviously love to see him finish drives. But all in all, a fine first outing for Derek Carr in New Orleans. We can't say the same for Trevor Penning. It was his second career start. And what we've known about Penning to this point in his career, dominant run blocker, really struggles in pass protection, and Arden Key and Harold Landry ate his lunch. It was almost like he wasn't moving. As the game went along, they had to give him help. You started to see Foster Moreau chip before he went out on pass routes. They gave him help on that left side with backs as well, with protection. That was a really, really rough go. And at one point in the game, it was so bad, I seriously thought they might consider moving James Hurst to left tackle and either putting Penning in at right guard or at left guard or bringing Andrus Peat in at left guard. They stuck with it and decided to give him help. And now the real question is, okay, if this is your baseline, and it's the first game starting out there, and it was an unenviable draw against that defensive front, but how much better can he get? Here was Dennis Allen on the day that Trevor Penning had.
I'm not concerned. This guy's going to be a good player. You got a young guy that's playing against a extremely good front. So does he have to get better? Absolutely. Am I concerned? No. I think we just keep our head down and keep going to work, and we'll keep getting better, and we'll make our evaluations when we get to the end of the season, see where we're at. But I think this kid's going to be just fine.
Okay, so they're going to roll with him. And look, you saw athletically enough in him to take him with a first-round pick. That doesn't always work out. The Saints drafted Andrus Peat with eyes on him being a starting right tackle. It didn't work out. He ended up being a guard. You drafted Ryan Ramczyk who was a left tackle at Wisconsin. You drafted him to be your right tackle, and he has been one of the best right tackles in the league. I can remember back to when the Raiders took Robert Gallery. Didn't they take Robert Gallery 3rd or 4th overall out of Iowa, thinking he would be a franchise left tackle? He played a dozen years in the NFL. He was just a guard. He was an interior player. And maybe that's what's going to happen here with Trevor Penning, but clearly they're not ready to give up on him after one game out at left tackle, but he has a lot of room to go for improvement. How about Brian Brzez's debut? He had a tackle, had a half a sack, 2 quarterback hits. He missed another full sack had the quarterback in the grasp and slowed him down. Ultimately, someone came and cleaned it up, but Brzee was right there for a potential another sack. Great to see him get that push, in his first action. Where was Taysom Hill? I think that's fair to ask. They targeted him one time. It was the throw that was high and wide in the end zone, and then he only carried the ball 3 times for 4 yards. And when they did let him run, they were largely trying to get him to the outside, which against that defense, what are you doing? So the run game struggled. The run game struggled in large part because you were facing a team that led the NFL in rush defense a year ago, and you were without Alvin Kamara, and you were without Kendre Miller. Jamal Williams showed you he is a plotter between the tackles. He's not going to be super explosive, and your only other option was Tony Jones. So you're going to have to get creative in the running game until Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller come back. But you are 1-0. You are 1-0, and your next one is Monday Night Football in Charlotte against the Panthers, with Bryce Young making his home debut and his second ever start. And y'all, we talked about it several weeks back, and it was a clip that on our social media went viral for the wrong reasons. It went viral because a lot of fans were mad at Muso for how he ranked quarterbacks. It wasn't even really a ranking. It was just, I randomly asked him, said, Muse, shout out the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And one by one, we rolled through the list of Mahomes and Herbert and Burrow and Hurts and Lamar Jackson, all the best quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. Saints don't play any of them. Look at the quarterbacks you play. You just won a one-score game, a one-point game on a day where Ryan Tannehill threw 3 awful interceptions. Well, 2 of them were awful. I mean, it matters the quarterbacks you're going to play. Bryce Young didn't have a great debut on Sunday in a loss for Carolina. It ain't going to get easier with this Saints defense going to Charlotte next week. Saints got a great chance to start 2-0. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.